Welcome to the Canny Conversations podcast, Conversations with a Cause, with social entrepreneur Safaraz Ali.
Hello and welcome to Canny Conversations with a Cause. Conversations that we will hope will captivate your curiosity cannily. One of the things, Saf, that we've said throughout all of these episodes is that good businesses listen to their customers. And our listeners are our customers, aren't they?
Yes, of course they are.
And that's why...
They're our friends as well.
Sorry?
They're our friends as well.
They're our friends and our customers, and we listen to what they say.
Yeah.
And the last episode, we just had so many people saying, look, we need to know a bit more about networking. You were telling us about the various groups and what networking was about. But, you know, we're trying to set up our business and we want to go to networking groups and we want to make the best that we can of the experience. So please, could you talk about that? So that's what we're going to do in the next half an hour. And what we're going to do, first of all, Saf, we're going to talk about how people should behave and to make the best of networking. But let's start off by talking about some of the faux pas, some of the things that have gone wrong. And I guess, to be honest, we've all probably done it. But go on, you share a few of the...
I think firstly, I'll just reiterate and echo what you've said in terms of we were taken aback by some of the feedback and some of our listeners from all over giving us feedback, and there was a lot of positive feedback as well. But the areas for us, we need to try and pick up today, which is a little bit of lessons, a little bit more bites in terms of practical things that they can take away. So, yeah, faux pas. I mean, my first thing is that if somebody says to me, how do you take networking and what you look at? I mean, it's at the end of it, you have a hunter approach and you have a sort of a farming approach, and a lot of people go out there and think networking is about hunting, whether that's hunting for business cards back in the day in terms of trying to get business cards or trying to find your ideal customer or particular customer. One of my little bit of pet hate is when somebody says, I'm looking for high net worth individuals. I'm looking for XYZ type of person. It's very narrow. You're a sharpshooter and you're going out and sort of trying to hunt, so you're trying to find your prey and it's like attacking them. And for me, that starts off on a wrong footing, So, your intention is absolute. So you got to start thinking in terms of, networking is about adding value. It's about differentiating. It's about, building relationships. It's about getting to get people to, like you, trust you. We sort of touched on this last time about know you, like you, and trust you. And it's not about going out and shoving, what you've got as a service or a product and finding victims and prey and so forth. So from my perspective, it's the intention needs to be right. It's your approach needs to be right. And then we can talk a little bit about how, your sort of techniques and how people handle things and so forth. But I think everything starts with intention. What are you doing? What is your purpose? It's about really whether you have that genuine interest in really going out and meeting people, understanding what they're about and trying to help people. Or is it just a case of, I've got to hit a target and I've got to go and find a particular person and sell whatever product to them? So I think the first thing is always about the intention. Is the intention right?
And it's also very demeaning, I think, don't you? If you go into a room and, I only want to talk to high networking individuals, there are two things that come to my mind. First of all is, it's kind of saying, if you're not a high networking individual, I ain't going to waste my time on you. And that's very demeaning. And the other point is, it's not quantified. Somebody's idea of a high net worth individual might be very different to somebody else's. One of the other things, of course, with networking is it's not only, the people you're talking to themselves, but the people that they might know.
I think that's the key, isn't it? It's about the people, it's all about building building referral networks and building a mechanism where people can refer to you. So it's not really, in some aspects, about who you know, but who knows you and what do they know you for. And if they know you for a particular aspect of it, then they become your referral mechanism. And likewise, you can go and help others. And you start off with having that approach where you're really helping. So you're not selling, you're helping. So don't sell, but help. How can you help that person? And genuinely, and people can see whether you're being genuine, whether you're being authentic, whether you're being real, or whether you're going through the motions. Yeah, and people have that sense really, and they can sort of spot somebody who is genuinely caring, genuinely listening, genuinely looking to help, is interested, or somebody's just going through the motions to try and get their objective, which is ultimately that sale. And I think people genuinely, in my view, have got that sense where they can pick that up. So yeah, don't sell, help.
And have you ever been in a group of people at a networking event when there's someone talking and you can see that they're looking over your shoulder, they're looking behind you, they're looking to the left, they're looking to the right, and they're thinking, oh, they're looking for a better offer, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean,
they're going through they're paying lip service to you, but they're clearly, they're clearly not wanting to be there. They clearly want to be with the guy or the girl over the other side of the room. And part of the reading, of course, is not just what people are saying, but it's the body language, isn't
it? Absolutely. And there's the saying, isn't there? You got 2 ears and 1 mouth and use them accordingly. And listening is absolutely probably the number one thing, really, in terms of communication. And it's, people have got these elevator pitches and sort of they've got their programmed sort of elevator pitches. I mean, I'm thinking of another word, but I can't think of anything at this moment in time. There is another word in my mind that I might come to later. But they've got their sort of their sales pitches, their elevator pitches and so forth, and they focus on that. And once they've got that across, they're not interested in anything else. And they've got their then follow-up questions or closing questions. But really, it is about listening and listening techniques. And again, it's really, listening is a massive subject in itself. If anybody has studied or looked at communication and they looked at listening, and I'm talking a little bit from memory here, but there's different, you can pick up when somebody's got selective listening. We've heard of selective hearing, where they're picking up certain words, but they've missed the sort of the gist of what you're saying, the context. People who are listening, but they're not listening. They're sort of external listening. They're just nodding through, but they haven't understood a word of that. They're listening to you, but they're sort of translating it into their own, into something that means something for them. So they're putting it through their own filter. They analyze it with their own experiences. So you've got that element of internal listening. Whatever's been said has been repurposed into something else that means something for them, but it's not really what that communication is. And then you've got people who are so focused on words that they've got to pay attention, but it's hard. And then you've got hopefully people who are a little bit more natural, where it's a bit more sort of intuitive. It's they're listening to you, they understand where you are, they're in sync with you, and there's that element of camaraderie and rapport building that comes up because the body language is in sync. The communication is there. You've got, you've been able to get across your true personality, your true feelings, and it's been enjoyable. It's not hard work. It's actually an enjoyable experience, and then the clock ticks very quickly, and you think, oh my God, what? I could be sitting here all day, and it's just a very comfortable environment.
And so often, don't you? You got somebody who is ostensibly listening to you, but what they're really doing is they're thinking about the next thing that they are going to say.
What they're going to say, yeah.
What are they going to say?
Yeah.
I mean, the reason I think the reason that you said don't sell help is because people buy solutions to problems, don't they? I mean, let's pretend, for example, I was a podcaster. I was somebody who produced podcasts. I'm not selling podcasts, am I? I'm selling a way in which those people can communicate effectively with their customers, with their potential customers. And I think all of us who are in sort of areas where it's not perhaps quite so easy to understand what people do, I think a big mistake is assuming a level of understanding and knowledge that the listener doesn't have. Did you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's what's the opportunity that you're bringing to the table, or what's the problem that you're trying to solve? Because there's always going to be either an opportunity or there's a problem. And businesses have got a problem, and if you're able to assist that problem, fantastic. If there's an opportunity, then what does that give. So, if you're talking about podcasting, then it's about branding, it's about marketing, it's about leveraging, it's about, growing your reputation and so forth. And, what would that give? So it's really repurposing the language to say, rather than say, well, I'm a podcaster, or I do podcasts for other people. It's being able to position themselves. So, we do need to sometimes understand ourselves in terms of our product, our services, and what are we doing? What's our fix? What's our solution? And, what's our differentiators? What's unique about us? What's different about us? And why us? And that's basic marketing to a certain level. And, and we need to be comfortable with that, and we need to be comfortable talking about ourselves, but more importantly, being able to allow others, who hopefully become champions for yourself, to understand what you do. And that's what it is. It's really being able to, position yourself in somebody else's mind. So when a particular need comes in, your name then comes into the mix. So if somebody is having a conversation to say, well, I'm looking for somebody that can help me grow my business, then hopefully that's a trigger word for one of your friends, who then is proud to refer to you. These are people who want to refer business to you and help you. Will say, okay, you know what? Maybe you should talk to my colleague friend who helps people podcast. It's worth having a conversation, and be able to sort of preposition that for you, and allow you then to be able to go and meet the person and so forth. But it's really positioning yourself in somebody else's mind and be able to sell the opportunity they help for you. That's the key. It's like me saying here, I'm the best at certain things. But if Adrian, you say, well, actually Safaraz is very good at this, he's the person, he's the go-to person for this, that'll give me more credibility than me doing any level of marketing or promotion or salesmanship.
How many times have you been in a networking meeting and somebody has come in and, Bravado Bill has come in and said, I'm turning over 6 million a year. I've got a house in Spain. I've got a villa in Barbados. And, with all due respect, Bravado Bill, what are you doing in a village hall at 6 o'clock in the morning in a rainy November? They are so obviously not being authentic. They are so obviously trying to impress with baloney. Tell me about baloney.
Okay. I know where you're coming from, and I appreciate that, because one of my bites is bravado is baloney, and that is about authentic. So I really hats off to you. appreciate that plug. But genuinely, we run away from anybody who is that level of boisterous. That element of, what's that character from Only Fools and Horses? Boise. That character, that, it's me, it's about this is what I have, I've got this, I've got that, and so forth. And you're so, there's nothing about that really attracts you. And there's no authenticity there. There's nothing there that you think, I want to work with that person. It puts you off completely. And there's people out there who feel that they need to brag. They're boisterous Betty or boisterous Bill. I've got this, I've got that. This is me. I can do this. These are my customers. My, me. I, as you said earlier on. It's the focus is all wrong. And, there's no listening skills there. There's no emotional awareness, emotional intelligence there. There's no benefit to the individual, and you're not building a relationship. There's no, we talk about character and so forth, and you're not really going to be winning many fans that way. Yeah, even if it's correct, even if it's right and so forth, generally people tune out and walk away. Particularly us in the UK, the British
help me if you can to make the distinction between bravado and confidence, because they're not the same thing.
Yeah, confidence is. Confidence. You can is being assured of yourself, being able to demonstrate competency, demonstrate results in a meaningful way, be able to very quickly demonstrate the fact that you have got credibility, you have got a reputation, you've delivered results, you've got the capability, the knowledge, the skills, and the experience to do so. Yeah. So a lot of this is going back to the problem that you're trying to resolve. So and being able to demonstrate that fairly quickly. So whether you're an award-winning organization, person, whether you've achieved certain results, so you can quantify what you've achieved in numbers, quantify what you've achieved in results. Have a little bit of storytelling. That's what people are tuned to. Be able to explain in a way without actually bragging. So, and people know, when there's somebody is arrogant or somebody is confident. We have that sense. Majority of us know that. We pick that up. So from my perspective, there is a balance. I think you can go to the level where you become boisterous, the bravado element of it, and really in this day and age, it's about authenticity. It's about sharing your vulnerabilities. It's not, we're not talking about going out and crying on somebody's shoulder, but it's about, being real. What does that mean? That's genuine care. That's like openness, respect. People know when you're respecting somebody or not, or disrespecting somebody. You also are able to convey how you can help, and again, relationships, the longer term relationships where there's real, value is relationships that are, what I say, authentic, fruitful, and lasting. So authentic, which is, again, we discussed, real, genuine, where the person actually cares about you as a person. Fruitful, where there is an objective. There's a little bit of a, it's not necessarily clinical, but there is an outcome. There's a sort of purpose. You're getting some benefit from it. It doesn't have to be business. It can be sort of social. It could be emotional. It could be educational, like a peer where you're learning from each other, where it's somebody that you can get an opinion from, emotional. There's a fruitful relationship there, where like a win-win, Adrian. Whether there's a win-win.
It's showing a level of humanity, isn't it? I think that's the important thing. One thing I was going to ask you is, we in quite a lot of the networking groups that exist, people are required, or at least given the opportunity of, these, what they call the elevator pitch or the 60-second bite and all the rest. And what's your view on that? I mean, how should people use that time in terms?
I think 60s. I mean, what you'll find is, when these elevator pitches are there, there's going to be 20 or 30 other elevator pitches. So I think the key message, you've got to be very clear in your message. What's the reason for that person to want to talk to you? So you've got to think about what's next. Your objective should be not to sell, but to also just to get it to the next stage. That's your ultimate objective, and that's even in a business development flow. Your objective is not necessarily to close at every single occasion, but to think, how do I move this to the next stage, to the next level? So your elevator pitch only objective is to get that person interested. There's an element of intrigue. You got to demonstrate your level of competence, capability, results, but do it in a way where you shine as a human, as a person. And the individual thinks, yes, I need to talk to that person. There's an element of intrigue. There's an element of interest, and think, yeah, you know what, I do need to have a conversation. And that's the best. If you can be in a crowd where somebody then comes and finds you to say, you know what, you and I need to have a conversation. May I have a conversation with you? And here's my card or details, or let's have a quick conversation. Then your elevator pitch, your pitch has worked. There is a lot of work that can go into an elevator pitch, but it's actually getting that right for the audience.
I mean, one of the points that you've made, and it's interesting that we're actually recording this episode. I'm not sure when people will be listening, and of course, one of the great benefits of podcasting is that people can catch up at their convenience. So they might be listening in the middle of January with the snow on the ground, but we are recording this particular episode at the time of the British Open Golf Championship. And one of the things that applies to golf, you play 4 rounds of golf in a tournament, is you can't win the tournament in the first round, but you can get yourself completely out of contention. And I suppose, in a sense, that's what you're saying in terms of the networking. The first meeting with people is is basically about trying to establish a relationship that enables you to get to the next stage. Now, you're not going to sell to them, but you can so put them off that they don't want to get to a next stage with you, don't you?
I mean, people want to have a conversation. They don't want to be talked at, and people don't want to be sold to as well. They buy, but they don't want to be sold to. So I think it's been attuned to that, and it's about trying to nurture an element of comfortableness, if that is a word, between the two parties, and also at the same time understand the person understanding who you are, what you're about, and how you can assist, and really taking it to that level, and being able to remember you for something positive. One thing is that if you get it right, and if you're networking, there's so many horror stories in terms of networking, but there's so many positives out there, because at the end of the day, it's about people, and people develop relationships. People sort of find opportunities to support each other. I've had situations where people have set up businesses together. They've become sort of collaborative partners, joint ventures. They've sort of invested in each other's business or other businesses. They've recruited staff that way. They've been able to recruit people. They've been able to get new customers, obviously. But at the same time, they've also, developed sort of peer groups, supportive groups, been able to get pastoral care, pastoral support. Businesses is a lonely place. If you're a micro business, small business, or if you're the head of a business, you may not have people that you can commonly talk to. And so if you can develop relationships outside your immediate sort of family and immediate sort of circle, then that's also fantastic for your own development, fantastic for mental health, fantastic for for your personal growth, and that's another sort of mechanism. So it's not just about getting a customer and finding somebody that is a prey or selling to. There's so many dimensions to networking that it shouldn't be pigeonholed into just networking is about finding customers or sales.
What about the follow-up process? Because when you've had a conversation with somebody and it's gone reasonably well, what do? You send them an email the following day thanking them and asking for a further meeting, or just thanking them? Because so many people, and heaven forbid, Saf, I'm guilty of a lot of these things. You often learn by your own mistakes, but so often people do the first bit and then the second bit they don't do, and they miss a huge opportunity in that respect.
There is that, and a lot of people talk about the follow-up, and the follow-up being the most important thing. And my view has slightly changed on that, because I did prescribe to the view that every time you get a business card of somebody or you met somebody, please follow up and look at doing a one-to-one with them. And if you look at certain YouTube videos and books and so forth, they always talk about the follow-up being the most important thing. And sometimes that can become a little bit more clinical as well. So, you meet somebody, you've had their card, and you send an email and say, can I get you a coffee? And you might not be ready for that. And people move on to that point where it's like they're trying to coerce a next follow-up. And initially, what I tend to do is find that person on social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and connect with them. Rather than sending them an email, I connect with them, look at what they're doing, maybe start sharing, start engaging with their content, seeing what they talk about, and just giving back. And the way you give back is actually engaging with what they do. So it's rather than trying to have another meeting, which some people then push back to say, it's a bit too early, because everything's about timing. You develop the relationship, because even at the first meeting, it's unlikely they might not even remember your name properly or whatever the case is, because they've met a lot of people. So it's too soon sometimes. And yes, you can do you go home and start doing emails, but through my sort of again trial and error, I've learned that it's possibly better in this day and age not to jump the gun a little bit and start sending emails across and saying, this is me, we met at this particular place, it was very good, and this is a little bit about us, and if you want to meet with me, fantastic, let's have a coffee. I don't want to buy you a coffee, because people sometimes don't want to do that. How many people do you want to have coffee with? I've had meetings with people sometimes a year, 2 years, 3 years after my first meeting, but through the mechanism of social media, I've been engaging with them. I'm seeing them on their Instagram, I'm seeing them on their LinkedIn. I'm sort of engaging with their content, then engaging with my content. I'm sort of commenting wherever possible. If I feel that I can genuinely comment, then I'm doing that, and I'm building a little bit of rapport and getting to know them. And then what I find is that they'll want to have a coffee with you. They'll want to know you a little bit more. That's the time. So you've got to. You can't sometimes force these things.
It's a kind of emotional intelligence, isn't it? Sometimes the right thing to do is to phone up and say, come and have a coffee tomorrow. Sometimes that's not the correct thing to do.
There's so many different differences. And as you said, there's no one size fits all. And it does depend on the purpose. If the person says, can you follow this up with me? And if you don't, then that is a faux pas. So it depends on how you've left it and what the conversation was. But yeah, absolutely.
Doesn't it come back to this thing that you've talked about earlier on? You've used two terms in conversations with me. You've talked about focused listening and intuitive listening. And isn't this about, if you really listen to people, you're going to get a pretty good idea of what the next step should be, whether it should be a coffee or whether it should be just connecting with them on social media. And that's why listening is so important, isn't it? Not just for what they can see, but for what the body language and the tone tells you about what they would like to do next.
Absolutely. I think it is about EQ, it's about emotional awareness and, picking the signs up and being able to understand, what's appropriate in terms of the next move and what's right for both parties. Just in terms of just some general pointers, if I may, with regard to networking. One of my other things that I sort of is a little bit of a pet hate really is when people are close to sort of going to a networking event because they feel that it's the same people. I've been to that event before. It's the same people. I don't want to go there. I want to go and meet new people. And what I feel is that, and I've said this to colleagues and friends who've asked me is don't be close to the opportunities, because even though you've met certain people before, a lot of it is about deepening and strengthening those relationships, because the more time you spend with the person, the more likelihood you're going to learn more from that individual. And what we find is that we get to know somebody at the top level first, just as sort of top level, but really we don't know the person. Until you've had subsequent meetings, follow-up meetings, different environments and so forth. And it takes a while. We talk about sometimes 7, 8, 9 even types of sort of engagement meetings where you're developing that relationship, you're deepening that bond, that connection. And people sometimes just rule out people. Yeah, I know who this person is and I don't really want to go there. And I want new people all the time and so forth. So I think that is something that is a fairly common mistake. They just want to go out and meet new people. And it's that thing that we talked about right at the beginning is more about the hunter approach, the prey approach, rather than the farming approach. So that's something as well. The other thing that I'll just very, very quickly say is that it's also at the same time being, you don't have, I regard myself as an introverted, authentic person. And it's hard for me to say, I regard myself as an authentic person because other people, should say that. But I want to be genuine with people. I don't want to be in an environment where, I'm being fake or putting myself in an environment where I'm uncomfortable as well. So you've got to have that element of comfort factor. And again, you start off being comfortable with yourself. So, we have this imposter syndrome. We have this thing, the fact that we don't have any value. I'm not an interesting person. And we have all of these sabotages, self-sabotage. And I think we've got to peel that onion and peel that layer off and be more comfortable with ourselves, be comfortable talking, be comfortable sharing, be comfortable. If we need to be vulnerable, being able to share ideas, thoughts, people hold back. And you can see somebody being, holding back. And again, that also at the same time, doesn't help you. Doesn't help in terms of that process of building that relationship. So it's really, a lot of it is about the balance, and everything in life is about balance, and it's about what works for you, what's right for you, and what you feel is you rather than you trying to change.
No. I mean, good point. And you said to me in the past, and I concede the point. You said to me sometimes, when I might have said, well, I don't think that group's for me because they're all the same sort of people and all the rest of it. And you said, well, hang on, Adrian, don't be so quick to reach those judgments. And those are wise words. I've got not a horrible feeling. I've got a feeling that this is such a big topic, which is so important to people setting up in business that we.
I think we've just skimmed the surface there as well. I mean, there's so much more that we could talk about. I know we've come back with a second episode, but there's so much here that we can talk about. But hopefully it's moved the conversation further.
We may be back at some time in the future, but now has come time to curtail this canny conversation with a cause, to hope that people catch up and they keep safe until we're back with them again. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to this Canny Conversation with a Cause. These conversations are based upon the Canny Bites books by Safaraz Ali, available on Amazon. To find out more, go online and visit Saf's website, pathwaygroup.co.uk, or join him on social media. He can be contacted at safraz@pathwaygroup.co.uk.